Happy Monday, knitters. I'm Louise from Wildflower Wool, and welcome back to my channel. This is another brand new episode of New Start Monday Knits. If you are just joining us for the first time, welcome. This is a show where I show you two new cast-ons that I'm doing for this upcoming week. The first one is a dishcloth because I am trying to get one done a week. The second project will be just something I randomly pick using some yarn from my stash. I'll show you a few updates of what I have worked on this week, and then we'll get to my new starts. But first, let's talk a little bit about this past week. I think wherever you are watching from, I think we can all agree this has been a crazy, crazy, crazy week. I'm pretty sure last Monday when you and I were visiting, I had never heard the term flatten the curve, self-isolating, and certainly had never heard the term social distancing, which now are so commonplace. But that is why we are here on YouTube, because even though knitting shows and knit groups and classes and socials at your local yarn shops have pretty much been all canceled all across the country, possibly the world, I'm thinking, we are so lucky we have this technology that we can still come together and we can still share our knitting progress. We can talk about new patterns that we're doing. We can share inspiration. We can chat and comment. Another platform that a lot of my knitting friends and I have been using is Zoom. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. It's a free app. It's very easy to set up. Make yourself a free account and you can get your friends together and you can have a video chat knit night right in your living room. So if you haven't done that, highly suggest doing it. And you guys, if you guys have watched me at all for any length of time on Facebook or our Fiber Friends Friday night live knit nights, you know I am a teeny little bit technically challenged. So if I can get the Zoom app to work, I am positive that you guys will be able to too. And it's a great way for us to all stay connected, even though we can't physically go to our yarn shops at this moment. So let me show you a little bit about what I've done this past week. I think I can probably say for all of us, me especially, it's been a bit of a stressful week. I kind of set aside a lot of my knitting that needed to have a little more concentration. Anything I needed to follow a pattern, follow charts, count rows, that kind of thing. I noticed that was not what I was grabbing this week to knit on. I felt, oh my gosh, look at all those ends. I guess I can't say they're 100% finished, can I, with all these ends. But you know what I picked up a lot this week was just some comfort knitting, some garter stitch dishcloths. Just knit back and forth. You had that comfort of knitting, that rhythmic, relaxing feeling without any of the brain power following a pattern. And my goal with these dishcloths this week was really just to get a finished dishcloth. It wasn't necessarily to make them look super pretty because this one here, as you can tell, let's see, I started this way. I did finish this ball of pink, yellow, this ball of yellow. I finished this ball of pink. I finished this ball of beige. And I ended off with this variegated ball, which I then finished over here. So as you can tell, I didn't really plan. Oh my goodness, look at that. I even joined in the middle of the row, which I really never, ever advocate, but it is just a dishcloth. Let me show you this side. Anyways, that's a good example of do what I say, not as I do, I guess. Even though I still really never ever do that. But I was really just trying to, I guess I was trying to get to the end of the row and I didn't quite make it. But I really wanted to use up every one of these itty bitty little balls that were lying around, and I succeeded. And as you can tell, I just color blocked it. I didn't do anything. I didn't try to make it look prettier by trying to stripe a row of yellow and a row of pink. I didn't mix and match. I just knit until it was done, and then I joined the next ball. This is my super simple dishcloth pattern. Really easy. Knit front and back increases, knit two together for decreases. Garter stitch, and you just make it as wide as you want. These ones here, this one here is a little smaller than I normally make, but I think my thinking when I started this was I knew I didn't have a lot of yarn and I was just trying to use it up. So I thought I wouldn't go as wide. I don't know if I might have only gone about 35 stitches wide here or something like that, instead of like up to 40 or 42. Anyways, this is a smaller face cloth, dishcloth, whatever you want to call it. It'll work fine. Then I finished off this ball. So the variegated that I finished up here with, I cast on down here, finished this ball, and then carried on with this ball of variegated. Yeah, and so there's a join. There's my join. Should really stop showing that backside, shouldn't I? So there was one ball, there was another one finished, and then I started this poppy. So all of these yarns so far have been Bernat Handicraft cotton. And then I did this one, and it is all one ball. I mean, all the same ball, but I did join, right here I joined. So I got, and I know where this little bit of white was, that was in the second. So I got almost all of a dishcloth out of this one part ball. And then I found another one, oddly enough, in my stash upstairs. Same colorway, this is poppy. So I have a bit of this left that I will start my next, well, a dishcloth down the road. I started another one and it wasn't using poppy. Anyways, I got three dishcloths finished this week. So that was pretty good. Definitely keeping on track with my one a week. I think I'm actually ahead, which is kind of a nice surprise. Dishcloths, excellent. You know, if you're just wanting some mindless knitting, go find a ball of cotton out of your stash and just cast something on and knit. Highly recommend it. Very therapeutic, I would say. So let me show you what else I did work on this week. I did pick up and work some points on my Hitchhiker. We have started a knit along. If you have not yet joined the Fiber Friends Friday Night Knit In group, it's a private group on Facebook. You can search that on Facebook, send us a request, answer the 2 questions that you're asked, and then we'll accept your request. Yes, I am thinking, what is that? What is that? We'll accept you. We'll, I don't know. Anyways, we'll let you in the group. We just need to make sure that you are a knitter. And then you're welcome to join us. And we started a Hitchhiker knit along this weekend. So the Facebook group is there. You can post pictures of your yarn. You can post pictures of your project as you're knitting it. Show us your cast on, your first couple of points. And just keep showing us your projects, your progress, chit chat with other knitters. It'll be fun. I also started a thread in the Fiber Friends Ravelry group for your finished pictures. And there will be a prize. One of our Fiber Friends member, Natalie, has offered to dye a skein of yarn, and that will be a prize. So we're not entirely sure the cal has started. We haven't really set an end date, maybe end of April, first part of May, possibly, something like that. So the skein of yarn, when we do draw a winner, it will be just mailed out at some point when everything is settled down in the world and we know the mail service is working and it will reach its destination. But for the meantime, let's just have fun knitting. So look at this. I move my marker after these Monday videos. So this is where I was last week. I've done 1, 2, 3. I've done 4 more points. It's getting a little longer. Obviously, it's getting wider as we go. So it's getting a nice little width on there. I'm still liking how it's striping. I'm happy. I think, oh boy, I don't know. I was going to say, I think this might be a 4mm needle. I seem to be, 4mm needle seems to be what I've been knitting everything on lately. I think that's maybe what it is. I think, we'll just say that. Give or take, close. I mean, gauge is something on this Hitchhiker that you've got a little bit of leeway on, right? The most important thing is you like the fabric that you're creating. You want something that's going to be a little looser, a little drapier. You don't want your shawls to be really knitly tight like you do socks or even a sweater. So I'm really liking this. I'm having fun. I'm going to post a picture of this in the Fiber Friends group and use the I think we're just using the hashtag Hitchhiker Cow. Oh, and so the idea of this is because yarn shops are closed and it's, people are staying inside, the idea is to use some yarn out of your stash, unless you would like to support your local yarn shop or one of your local dyers and do an online order. That would be fantastic because they're being hit hard with all this stuff that's going on right now. So if you want to do a little order, that would be great. But also we all have a big stash, right? Which is the one time, this is the time right now that having a stash of yarn is paying off for us. So if you want to, I should say the Hitchhiker is a paid pattern. Martina Bem is the designer. Hitchhiker on Ravelry. I'm not sure what the cost is of the pattern. I don't think it was anything too crazy, but it does use 1 skein of fingering weight yarn. The other option is a free pattern. It's called Step Up, and it is using a worsted weight yarn. And it does still give you these points along the edge. So the shawls look very similar. One's fingering and one's worsted. So you can take a look in your stash and see what is just waiting there for you to cast on. And cast on and join us and show us your pictures and knit along with us. It'll just be a little bit of fun in these crazy times that we're having right now. And it's a fun knit. I do have to say, it's only an 8-row repeat, so it's pretty easy to keep track of. Highly, highly suggested. I've knit this more than once. So when knitters have knit something more than once, that is a good shout out for the pattern. My flamingo socks. I did work a little bit on my flamingo socks. Look at this yarn. Oh my gosh, you guys know that I am like in love with this yarn. This was Songbird Fibers yarn, one of our local dyers around us here. And where was I last week when I showed you this? Did I have my heel flap done or did I just have my leg done? I honestly can't remember. But I have got the heel flap finished. I turned the heel, which never ceases to excite me. And I have picked up all my stitches, my gusset stitches, so I'm back in the round and I'm working decreases. And that's where I am on my sock, and I am loving it. So I'm really curious to see if my striping gets back in the stripe pattern after I have disrupted it by doing the heel flap and the heel turn. So we'll see. I can't really tell. I just got such a teeny, teeny, tiny little bit done there. I can't really tell how it's going to turn out, but stay tuned. Look at that. Is that not a teaser? See, stay tuned. We'll see how the striping turns out on my sock next week, or look on Instagram if I post there. All right, so that was sock. So I got the heel done. That's a big step. So now I just like few decrease rounds, and then I'm like playing round and round on the foot. This is only sock 1 though, so I get the joy of doing it all again. Okay, so sock knitting is done. That is really the only 2 projects that I worked on, the dishcloths and the shawl, Hitchhiker, and the sock. Let me show you what I have cast on. I'll start with the dishcloth. Quite a few people in the comments on the last few videos have left me suggestions of dishcloths that I can knit. And this was one, I would have to say, was an overwhelming favorite of quite a few people. It is, can you tell? Any of you who have knit it before? It is the Almost Lost Dishcloth. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is, I think it takes you, when you find, I can't remember the designer or the woman's name who posted it. It was the first one that came up in Ravelry, but there was a few, maybe 3 of them that came up. Click the first one. The picture shows a stack of multicolored dishcloths. That's the one I clicked on, and I think I took it like to her blog, and it wrote out the pattern. But it is really fun, and easy, because I knit this last night on the phone talking to my mom and a friend, and I did not mess it up. And if you guys have watched previous episodes, you will know that that my last couple dishcloths that I tried to do doing bee stitch, I kept messing them up. I kept getting my pattern out of kilter. Anyways, I have not messed this one up. I should not be saying this because I probably just jinxed myself. But it's very easy. It is just a few, every one, you can see, well, every point in every one of these eyelet sections. This is a repeat, this is a repeat, this is a repeat. And it is, once you've done the first one, you get the gist of it. It is some yarn overs and there's some short rows. Really, really simple. You only have 14 stitches on your needle at one time. That's what you start and you end with after you do your little wedge section. And I think you do 14 or 15 of them and you work your way around. And then this here is my cast on edge. So we'll just keep working all the way around and then we'll just seam it right here. It is really fun. I suggest if you're looking for a dishcloth, I would go search that pattern and watch knit along with me. I'd love to know. Leave me a comment. If you're knitting a dishcloth, have you ever knit this pattern? Or if you think you will, I'd love to know. I like inspiring people because I was inspired because I know, yeah, like 3 or 4 people had mentioned this one. So I thought, I'm going to give it a whirl. And I'm glad that I did because it's really quite fun. I am knitting it on a 4mm needle. And of course, my Bernat Handicrafter because I have a big, big stash of it. You'll also remember a few episodes ago I was talking because I said I had a lot of white. And sure enough, I picked up a project bag up in my yarn studio. And what was underneath the project bag? This ball of yarn. So I just put it on my scale. I weighed it. It's 41 grams. I just grabbed a Post-it note to make a little makeshift ball band because there was no ball band on it. So once I get this knit, I will take my little Post-it note and I will move it into my finished ball band box that I can keep track. I'm trying to keep track of the meterage that I knit this year. So I'm using the ball bands to help me out with that. Anyways, this is really fun. And again, it's garter stitch. Maybe I'm just on a garter stitch kick this week. I don't know. Anyways, it's fun. I like it. And I will just keep going with it. Now, my next project, I am really, really, really excited about this. I was thinking last night, I don't know, over the weekend, I was just feeling a little overwhelmed about everything that is going on right now. Everything you see in social media, in the news, it just, I don't know. And I just thought, you know what, for my new start this week, I need something extra, extra special. So what I did was I searched through all my bags of yarn that I brought back from Norway. I was on vacation in Norway last fall, and I came across this ball. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, this is the ball I need to cast on this week. Look at this yellow. Where did that come from? Look at this orange. I love it. I mean, you guys all know I love orange. And this is 100% wool. It's a nice rustic-y wool, which I love the feel of. I'll show you the label. This was a yarn shop we went and visited in Oslo. It was from Pickles, and this is their yarn. It's a fingering weight, and I do believe it is 380 meters or 415 grams. The printing on here is pretty tiny. Something like that. 400, no, what did I say? 425 yards. See, I can't even make out. I'm like really straining here. Anyways, there's a good amount of yardage. I think it says 380 meters, and whatever that converts to in yards, 400 and something. Look at that. I love it. 100% wool. And I have cast on, just cast on. Let me pull it a little bit here. Like literally just cast on. I have just a few rows done, but hey, a start is a start. And I thought again, I just want something that I can pick up, simple knit, garter stitch with an increase on this one side, a yarn over there. If I pull those tails out, you can see the yarn overs there. If it lays still here. There you go. There. If I put it by my hair, you can see, you see those yarn overs. I just started with 3 stitches. I'm increasing every other row. So I cast on 3 stitches. I think I knit a row, and then the next row I knit 1, yarn over, knit to the end, turn it around, knit back, knit 1, yarn over, knit to the end. And I'm just going to just keep doing that for this whole ball. Just make a big asymmetrical shawl that I can just wrap around my shoulders. And yeah, it's just going to be a little bit of comfort knitting, just garter stitch with the eyelets. I think it'll look pretty. I love, love, love the color. I'm happy. I can't, honestly, I cannot wait to just pick this up again and just work a few more rows. I think it'll be great for binge watching something on Netflix, and just, I'll probably put a marker just so, well, I should be able to know which side I'm increasing on because I can see the eyelets, but maybe just to make sure that I don't muck up, maybe I'll put a marker just so I know when the marker's facing me, this is an increased row, you know, because I seem to have a habit. Even sometimes the simplest things, I manage to find a way. If there's a wrong way you can do it, I seem to somehow be doing that lately. Anyways, I'm going to post some pictures on Instagram of this yarn. I took some pictures of the yarn shop when we were in Oslo. It was a really, really cute shop. It wasn't all that big. It was nicely lit. There was flowers along the one shelf of yarn. It was just nice. It was really, really nice. It had a warm, cozy, welcoming feeling. I took a picture outside with the sign in it, and then I took another picture when we were back having lunch with the yarn. So I'll post those on Instagram. So just if you're interested in seeing this yarn in its native Norway and a couple of pictures, I will post a few pictures over on Instagram later on tonight. So those are my 2 starts, a simple shawl, a really fun dishcloth, and who knows, I don't know, I've got a few other shawls from my Monday starts that I haven't done a whole lot on. I started a 7 gram. This is a 7 gram, the herringbone shawl. I started one of these a couple of weeks ago in some really nice, bright, variegated yarn, and it hasn't seen any attention lately. So maybe I'll try to get a few repeats done on it. Just try to work it in. I have had a couple finishes this week, but I will save those. If you're new here, what I do on the last Friday of the month, I do a little Finish Friday video showing you what I have finished throughout the month, give you an update on the yardage that I've knit, how many balls I've finished, and I'll give you an update on how my Ravelry, how my yarn is being put into Ravelry too. That is turning into a much bigger job than I had thought about. Oh, my poor cowl. I can show this to you. I mean, mind you, there's nothing more for you to see other than what I did last week. This was cast on basically as a gauge swatch. I just, what did I put on here? 92 stitches, I'm thinking. And I did... what did I not just say I was having trouble, and if there was any way to muck up a pattern, I was seeming to do it? I made this beginner mistake. I twisted my yarn when I joined it. So anyways, I'm just considering this a practice gauge swatch because I do like how it's feeling. I had a couple of comments of possible different cast-ons that I could try. I just did this as a long tail because I was going to fold it up and make a hem. Some people suggested, I think it was the Italian cast on gave a nice edge. I might play around with the picot edge. I'm not sure. So I have to pull this out anyway. So I'm going to try a couple of your suggested cast-ons. So anyways, I think that is it for me this week. What have you guys been working on? I would love to know. Hopefully you have had a little better luck than I have had. Hopefully you haven't twisted anything. Hopefully your patterns are all on track. Hopefully you haven't been ripping out too much. But as we know, that it goes hand in hand with knitting. You know, I tell my students, you know, if you have to rip it out, well, you know what? Then you just get the joy of re-knitting it. What are you going to do, right? Knitting's knitting. So anyway, I think that's it. I can't wait for this March's Finished Friday video, because I do have some finishes to show you, which I'm quite excited about. Anyways, I think overall, this week, I mean, has been this week. It has been what it is. But my knitting, you know, I think has really helped me get through it. And I'm just going to soldier on and see what this week brings. When we get together again next Monday, I don't even, I'm not even sure I want to guess what could possibly happen in this coming week. But just everybody pick up your yarn, pick up a new project, pick up something that has been in a project bag for a while. And I hope you can just find some time to find some comfort with your knitting. Just sit and breathe, relax, and knit. I will see you right back here again next Monday with some more new starts. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye for now.